Jenny Brown, and I'm here today to run through with you the changes that are going to be brought in, which are going to be affecting every single UK limited company. Now, keeping in mind that the number of people that we deal with here at Mortgage Finance Brokers that are using limited companies as a means to acquire property to rent out as an investment, it is going to apply to all of you people, but also anyone who has a limited company which does stuff other than renting property out as well. Now, the key thing you need to know is that the changes have been brought in under the Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Act are going to be phased in over a number of years. So what we're going to do for you now is just run through each of the key changes one by one. Okay, so change number one is that Companies House are looking to improve the quality of data that they hold on their registers. Now, what this actually means, and one that I think is going to impact quite a few people, is that companies registered with Companies House must now have what they're calling an appropriate registered address. And this means that, first of all, any documentation which is addressed to and delivered to that address would come to the attention of a person who acts on behalf of the company. So essentially, they would expect that if they write to the company at an address, it's going to reach somebody who can make decisions on behalf of the company which they're contacting them about. The other thing they're saying is that delivery of documents needs to be capable of being recorded. So essentially, if they want to send a letter out recorded delivery, it needs to be going to an address as such that can be done. The fallout of this means that going forwards, there can be no longer PO box addresses used as the main address for a limited company. Now, what they're also saying under this kind of section of the changes is that the registrar is going to have a greater powers to query and challenge information that's held on the register, stronger checks on company names which may give a misleading impression to the public, and also there's going to be a new ID verification process as well for those people who are both company directors and also people that have strong control over businesses, and also for all new companies going forwards. Change number two are changes to the confirmation statement. So the first one that's coming in is that going forwards, if you're doing your confirmation statement, you need to supply Companies House with a valid email address. So at the moment they haven't been asking for that information. Going forward, you're going to have to provide it. As of now, so this is already kicked in, any new companies being set up will also have to provide a valid email address. And the other thing that's going to be changing on the confirmation statement is that you're going to have to agree to sign a statement to confirm that the company is indeed lawful, and any intended future activities of the company will also be lawful. Unfortunately, change three is that the fees are going to be increasing. So the cost of incorporating a new company, if you're doing it digitally, the fee for that is going to be £50, and if you're doing it using appropriate software, then it's going to be £78. And there's a whole raft of changes of fees. Another thing that, for those of you who are already running limited companies will be aware of, is the confirmation statement fees. These are increasing to £34, but all information relating to fees can be found on the Companies House website. Okay, change number four is in relation to identification. So what they're saying is that essentially there's going to be identity verification going forwards. Now, for existing limited companies, all company directors and people of significant control, or PSCs, are going to be asked to prove that they are who they say they are. And actually, when you set up a new limited company going forwards, you're going to be also asked to prove that you are who you say you are as well, to meet the kind of objectives there. In terms of verifying that information, Companies House will be in touch with you to let you know about how you go about doing that, but expect to have to be able to provide a passport or a driving licence, some kind of identification document. Number five is a change to how you can actually file your company accounts. So lots of people either use a digital version, so an online web-based version, or they stick with the old-fashioned version of good old-fashioned pen and paper. Eventually we're transitioning to the point where everything has to be done using special software. Now, the software that Companies House are accepting is already in existence, so lots of accountancy practices are already using this. But the key thing to note is that actually if you just do things online or using paper, eventually that's going to be eradicated and it's going to be software only going forwards. Number six is the protection of your personal information. So essentially what they're recognising is that there is lots of sensitive information which can be made available, so they're going to be putting measures in place to ensure that certain data can be protected, which is obviously a great thing. So the first thing is that under the Act, individuals are going to be able to apply to suppress the following information from historical documents. So residential addresses, and in most instances this is going to be where the address that you're using for the limited company is also your home address. So you can ask to have that information suppressed so that people can't see where you live. Date of birth documents registered before the 10th of October 2015. So essentially if your birthday was the 1st of January, 1980, it would just show as January 1980. So this is to protect your date of birth. Mainly I'm guessing to do with sort of fraud kind of concerns. Now the reason they say documents registered before the 10th of October 2015 is that because since that date they've been using this format anyway, so there's nothing to be done there, but any documents that are more historic, the day of birth can be suppressed. Also signatures as well, you can ask to have your signatures not published, because obviously we don't necessarily want everyone to be able to gain access to those, particularly in the sort of age we're in now with people and being able to just sort of cut and paste images off websites. And lastly, the occupation of the business as well. And lastly, Companies House are going to be looking to improve the transparency around company ownership. So what this means is that under the measures that are being introduced by the Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Act, company ownership is going to be more transparent, meaning that the companies must record the full names of shareholders, who are individuals, or the full name of corporate members and firms in their registers, and provide one-off full shareholder lists so Companies House can display shareholder information in a more user-friendly way, so that when you click on a limited company detail on Companies House, you will be able to see exactly who the shareholders are. So lots of changes there which are going to have impact on many UK limited companies, and like I said, they're going to be phased in over the next few years, so do keep your eye on the Companies House website, which is actually incredibly helpful around this, which will be able to give you more information. And at Mortgage Finance Brokers, will be keeping you abreast of each of these changes as they actually click in and come into play, to make sure that you don't come unstuck with any of the new rules.